Today, I'm going to be showing you how to replace your TPU Gaiter. It's most common for us to see horses that need a larger size TPU Gaiter than comes standard with the boot, and replacing your TPU Gaiter is a way to get that customized fit without having to replace the entire boot. Now, the method that I'm going to show you today is just the way I like to approach this. There are other approaches, other methods, but I feel like I've gotten a pretty good system down because I've done quite a few of these replacements at this point. So let's start with the tools that you're going to need. So first you're going to need a pair of nippers, and it's really important that these are not nippers you care about too much because we are going to be cutting metal with them. You'll also need a pair of needle nose pliers, a hammer, a flathead screwdriver, and a Phillips head screwdriver. And then it's really important for safety that you have a pair of heat resistant gloves. And then lastly, we'll be using a hairdryer to heat the boot up. Now you can use a heat gun, and it is a faster way to do this, but you have to be extra cautious because you do run the risk of melting the boot. So I prefer the hairdryer because then I can worry less.
So the first part of this process is to remove the rivets from the back of the TPU Gaiter. I like to bend the gaiter as much as I possibly can, and then I get the edge of my nippers underneath and sort of work them around a little bit until I can nip the rivet and break it. Just like that. And then we'll do the other one as well. And now we can use our needle nose pliers to push out the extra metal. The next thing you're going to do is heat the TPU Gaiter and boot where they're bonded together. This is where it's really important to wear your gloves because the boot is going to get hot and you don't want to burn yourself. So with my hairdryer on high, it takes me about 3 minutes to do this, but it will vary with the strength of your hairdryer. I'm going to heat the boot for 1 minute on each side, front and back, and then again for 30 seconds on each side. Now that we've sufficiently heated the boot, I'm going to fold the TPU Gaiter over as much as I can. And I like to start by using my flathead screwdriver to separate the boot shell and the gaiter enough so that I can grab it with my needle nose pliers. And now I'm just going to work my way down the gaiter with my needle nose pliers. And I usually like to separate it on one side first because then I can grab that side with my hand and just pull it off. Just like that. Now, if at any point you think you might rip the boot doing this, it's always better to go back and add more heat to make the process easier. This is how the new TPU Gaiter looks right out of the package. It comes with its own new rivets, and you can see that it already has glue applied. So all we have to do is heat that up to bond it to the boot shell. But let's start by removing the outer piece of each rivet and putting them aside for now. We're going to use our hairdryer again to heat up the TPU Gaiter for a minute, and then the boot for a minute, and then the TPU Gaiter for 30 seconds again. Again, this might vary depending on your hairdryer. When the glue is ready, you'll notice that it gets a bit shiny. Now that the glue is hot, I'm going to line the rivets up with the holes with the gaiter on the inside of the boot. And then once I'm happy with the alignment, I'm just going to compress the gaiter and boot together and sort of hold them like that for a minute. We'll let that sit for 5 minutes before continuing on to the final steps. The final steps of the TPU Gaiter replacement process are to fasten the rivets on the back of the boot and put the ball rivet back on the front of the TPU Gaiter. So the first thing we're going to need to do is remove the ball rivet from the old Gaiter and add it to the new one. I like to use needle nose pliers to grip the ball rivet, and then I use a Phillips head screwdriver to unscrew it. When putting it on the new Gaiter, make sure that the ball rivet is facing outwards and the TPU washer is in place behind the screw. Next, we're going to press the outside part of the back rivets as much as we can by hand. And now I'm going to lay the boot on this flat, elevated surface so I can take my hammer and firmly tap the rivets into place. You want these to lay flat when you're done, but don't get so overzealous that you ruin the rivets. That looks good.
Once you've finished replacing your TPU Gaiter, I would recommend waiting about 24 hours before using them on your horse, just to make sure that the glue has enough time to fully cure. But after that, it should function just the same as if it came directly from the retailer. Now, if you ever have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to the Flex Boots team at hello@flexhoofboots.com. We are always happy to answer your size and fit questions, as well as any questions about part replacement or boot customization.